Hello everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Mr. Peralta's Math. I know you're all terribly excited about the lesson today. What we're working on today, yesterday we started to introduce volume, and volume is how we fill an object. We talked about perimeter is going around an object, one dimension. Okay, we talked about area is covering an object, 2 dimensions. We talked about volume is filling an object, about 3 dimensions. And so today we're going to go on that and how we find the formula to find the volume of specifically rectangular prisms. So what I want to do is we're going to review the area of a rectangle. So do you remember the formula for the area of a rectangle? A for area, L for length, width, or B for base and height. Do you remember what it was? Good. It was area equals length times width, or area equals base times height. Mr. Peralta always says area equals base times height for a rectangle. And so if we draw a rectangle with the sides measuring 3 centimeters and 9 centimeters, find the area. Well, the number model, base times height, if the base is 3 and the height is 9, 3 times 9 is 27. So the area is 27 square meters. This should be a review for you. Try these 2 on your own. This one, base is 7, height is, we don't know, okay, oh, I think I gave it away, is 56. So 7 times what gives you 56? Well, 7 times 8 gives you 56, or they did. They knew the area, they just went backwards. 56 divided by 7 is 8. So the height is going to be 8 meters there. What about this one? Try to figure it out. If you got 7, you got the right answer. Moving forward, what about this? Might be a little tricky because of the decimal. See if you can do it. Alright, let's see how you did. I hope you're pausing and trying these as you go. And this one, a little trickier. We know the area, we know the base, but we don't know the height. So we're going to multiply or we're going to divide. We're going to divide. And hopefully you got the answer was 15.5. Alright, so now we're going to use our knowledge of area, finding the base times height, of an object, to develop a formula to find the volume of the rectangular prism. But first we're going to do some mental math. Now, this one I hope you're doing 6 plus 4. We do the ones first. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 10 is 20. Do the rest of these quick. Good. 5 plus 5 is 10. 20 plus 10 is 30. 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus 10 is 20. And so on. This one, how I do it? 9 times 8 in my head, 17. 10 plus 10 is 20. 20 plus 17 is 37. Try these. Pause it and try it real quick. Good. Remember, this is mental math. We want to try to get you skilled at doing it quickly in your head. What about this one? 9 times 3 is 12. 2 times 5 is 70. 70 plus 12 is 82. 282. You see how I do that? Do the ones, then I do the tens, and then I add in the hundreds. Do these 3 in your head. Pause it and unpause it when you're ready. There you go. Alright, so now we're doing cube stacking problems. You guys have done these already. They were on your ISAT test. We covered it briefly before the ISAT to expose you to it, but we need to delve into it some more. These are problems that you guys should know. Okay? Now the problem is, they got cubes missing. So you got to kind of see and look at the cubes and examine it to find what's the base, what's the width, what's the height, to help figure it out. Because here what we're looking for is we're trying to figure out the number of cubes needed to cover the bottom. Then we're going to try to find the height. What's the number of cubes in the tallest stack? And then we need to find the total number of cubes. So we're going to come back to this box as we figure them out. Okay, so this one. What do we think the length is? How far from let me get my pen out. How far is it from that point to that point? How many cubes? Well, let's start counting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This row right here, there's a missing box, but that would be 6. This one right here, you see how there would be a row there? That would be 7, and that would be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my length is 8. Well, now how deep does it go? How far is it from here to here? So this is my length. My width is what? How far deep does it go? Well, I have one row right there. And let me switch my colors here so you can see. I got one row right there. This box behind it, see how it's kind of behind, would be my second row. This would be my third, and the back row would be 4. So I have a width of 4 boxes. And finally, how high is it? Well, we start at the bottom. So I'm looking from here to here. What's my height? And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I start by just finding the length here, the width from here to here, and the height from here to here. Okay? Now, knowing my formula for area, what is it? Good. Length times width, or base times height. We're going to do length times width, because we want to find how many squares it would take to cover the bottom. So 8 times 4, everyone gives us 32. So my base, and excuse my messy writing, but I'm doing it with a mouse, my base is 32 square units. Alright, it fills 32 squares at the bottom. And make sure you understand that. The length is 8, the width is 4. 8 times 4 gave us 32, so there'd be 32 squares to fill the bottom. Now, how many sets of 32 do I have there piled up on top of each other? Well, I've got 5 of them. So we do 32 times 5 to figure out the volume. And I'm going to do 5 times 2 is 10. Just write 10 over there. And then I got 5 times 30 would give me 150. So I think there's going to be 160 square units in this. I'm going to go back and check. Let's see. Took me 32 cubes to cover the bottom. I got that right. 5 sets of it. The height was 5. And 160. Nailed it. Can you try this box here? Pause it and see what you think. Okay. What about this one? And this one? Pause and try to figure these out. What about box number 5? And box number 6? Make sure you have these written down on a piece of paper before I go back and give you the answers. Okay. Pause if you haven't finished yet. Here are all your answers. See how you did. Alright. Now, what are some properties of a rectangular prism? We've been talking about these the last few days. So what makes a rectangular prism a rectangular prism? Can you give me some? Well, I hope you know there are 6 faces. Mostly all rectangles. Okay, they have 12 edges. If you count them up, there should be 12. And 8 vertices. 4 on one side of it, 4 on the other. They have pairs of opposite faces that are congruent. So the base might be a rectangle and the top might be a rectangle, but they're equal because the base and the height top are the same. Same with the sides. So the opposite faces are congruent. I might want you to use the parallel faces are congruent. Also, any face can be designated as the base. So you can turn it any way you want because they're all rectangles and they can all be the base. The height is the distance between the base and the top. Okay, so even if I turned it, the height would now be from the base to the top. Moving forward, notice the number of cubes needed to do the bottom, needed to cover the bottom. So we did that. We first found the base, and then we figured out the tallest stack is the height, and we multiplied them between. So for instance, we found the base was 8 and the width was 4. We found that 32 cubes covered the bottom, and then we did it times 5. So that's what they are talking about. Okay, so in finding a formula to find the volume of a rectangular prism, we multiply the base times the height. Volume equals area of the base times height. Okay, right there. I also wouldn't mind it if you wrote volume equals length times width times height. Volume is 3 dimensions. And so we multiply 3 numbers together. That's how I always remember. But know that length times width would give you the base, right? Length times width gives you the base. So that's how they got that together. So let's and we just gave that formula. And hopefully you were able to figure out. Now use that formula to figure this out. What's the length? 3. What's the width? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 times 5 gives you 15. So each stack has 15. How many stacks? The base is 15 squares. How many layers do we have? 1, 2, 3. 15 times 3 is 45. Now, this is where I want you to stop, and it gets a little bit challenging because now we can't use the formula because the height's not the same. It's not a solid rectangular prism here. But what I like to do is I like to find the shape that is repeated over and over. And I'd like you to see that this shape right here is repeated over and over again. It's actually repeated, let me go back to here. It's actually repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I have 5 cubes that are repeated 5 times. 5 times 5 gives us what? 25. Okay, once again, find the shape that's repeated. Now how many rows are there? Multiply them together. And I hope you realize that this shape that's in the front, right here, is the one that's repeated over. So if you count these up, I'm not going to do it for you. Count it up. And then there's 2 rows of it. So you multiply it by 2. Let's see if you got the right answer. 40. Good. Try it here. Which shape is repeated? It's the one in the front. There's 2 rows of the one in the front. And if you did it, you did that. Now choose one of the problem and describe the strategy you used to solve that. Okay. Try to solve these. Pause it. And I'll help you out. There you go. Alright guys, I hope you get it. Let me know and we will talk about this on Monday. Thanks.